Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5, season 2 of the Bold Business Breakdown. I'm your host, Sebastian Sanchez.
And I'm also your host, Rebecca Nordquist.
If this is your first time listening to us, me and Rebecca are both students here at NMSU. We're both marketing majors and we're both work at the FinTech Lab powered by Nusenda Credit Union.
That's right. And today we have another very exciting episode for you. We haven't done an episode on financial tips in a while, but we wanted to bring that back because Financial Literacy Month is happening next month in April.
Yeah, so we wanted to bring this subject back and talk specifically about retirement and options that people may have as they start building their retirement funds while they're young.
Yeah. This is going to be a really fun and exciting episode, and it's the perfect time to gain some perspective on this subject. So let's take this time to be bold and shape the future. So just to start out, we're going to add a little disclaimer to this. Anything that we say on here is just for entertainment purposes only. We are not financial experts by any means. We are still students. So this is just kind of to get an idea of some of the options that you have out there, but still please do your own research on this subject and look into it. I mean, retirement is really important, and we definitely both think that it's something that you should start as soon as you can.
Oh, yes.
But definitely weigh the options, look into other things. Don't just take our word for it. But these are just some things that we kind of gathered along the way and just some kind of small little tips and things to kind of get started on your journey. But Sebastian, why is it so important to save for retirement while you're young?
Because of compound interest.
Exactly.
Yes. So when it comes to compound interest, like we've gone before, compound interest is vital when it comes to retiring and investing into your retirement. So an example is when you're at the age of 18, you would have 47 years to invest into your retirement compared to when you're 30 and you start retiring, you'd only have 35 or so years to invest into your retirement. So of course, when it comes to compound interest, the more you invest, the more money that gets added throughout the years. So it's important to get started on that as young as you can.
Yeah, no, exactly. So to put that in just because your interest is compounding on top of each other year after year. So if you were to have 47 whole years, like Sebastian said, if you were starting at 18 and you were 47 until you retire at like 65, that's a good chunk of time for your money to be compounding on top of each other versus 35 years, which you would start at 30, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but let's put it into a little bit of perspective for you. So we're gonna pull up our handy dandy calculator here.
Handy dandy, yes.
And just kind of give some perspective on that. So this is through AARP. And if we were to start investing at 47 years, like Sebastian said, if we were 18 and we want to retire at 65, that would be 47 years. And the rate of return is typically 7%, depending on where you invest. But this is a Roth IRA calculator. So this is just one option, but we'll talk about Roth IRAs and stuff. But this is just to kind of get an idea. So 47 years at 7% rate of return. The initial investment, you start out by putting in $100, and additionally every month every year you invest $5,000. So that would be around $415 a month, give or take. That's not even maxing out your Roth IRA. That's just like kind of like as you grow and you want to, that's like $100 a week, which seems like a lot, that's a lot to invest, but we want to try and max it out as you go. But $5,000, give or take, a year. And then expected inflation rate. So as you age, inflation is going to change and fluctuate. So we want to count that in just so that we have an idea of something happening for that. But if you were to, again, invest for 47 years, 7 rate of return, $5,000 a year, 3% inflation rate, you would get $1,133,526 million. I don't even know if I said that number right. $1 million, $1.1 million. Okay. So let's say if we max it out, which is around $7,000 until you're up to the age of 50, which by the time you get to 50, then you can bring it up to 8,000. Yeah. $7,000 roughly, you would have $1.5 million in your bank account when you retire. Oh my gosh. Wow. So now let's compare it to the 35 years. Yes. Okay. Yes. So let's say you start at 30 years old and you want to retire at 65. And you do $5,000 like we said. First scenario. you would only get $344,000. So that's just like you're getting $1 million just by investing at a younger age than if you were, say, 30.
Yes.
So, I mean, any retirement is better than a hole in the eye. I always say it's better than, nothing. But just to put it in perspective, the longer amount of time that you have to invest really shows that increase in funds. So definitely start when you're young.
Yes.
I mean, you don't have to start at 18, of course. I mean, that might not be realistic for you to start your retirement at 18, but even like $20 a week. Any retirement is
budget,
any retirement is better than no retirement. And as you get older and as you get a higher salary, you can always add more and start to max out your Roth IRA, which is preferred and will get you the higher rate of return.
Yeah, and just to give the audience some perspective, some people, when they retire, they might look into their Social Security, and they might think that might back them up for the long run once they retire. However, that is not as it may seem. Yeah.
No, yes. So we do sometimes get Social Security. I think they try to do that with every job that you get. So you are making Social Security at as you age. But I was talking to Paula Groves, and she put it perfectly that Social Security is basically to refrain you from eating cat food when you retire. So it's definitely not something to rely on. You definitely want to have other modes of savings. But I mean, as you can tell over the span of time, maybe $20K when you retire a year might have been enough back in the 50s. But $20K when you retire and you have healthcare bills and it's 2050 or 2065, that is definitely not a livable wage. But that is what you're getting. So as of 2024, right now, if you were to be collecting Social Security, you would get $1,907 a month paid out to you. And that would give you $22K a year, $22,884 a year to live off of while when you turn 65, that year you're going to get $22,000. The next year you're going to get $22,000. Instead of having I just have this savings account and I get $1 million right here and this is mine. So just to put it in perspective, I mean, honestly, $1 million is even going to change. $1 million might seem like a lot right now, but even that's going to change. But again, it's better than a hole in your eye.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And there's many different avenues, sorts of ways to invest into your retirement. And today, specifically on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Roths and 401K's and how one might need to get started for that.
Yeah. So I think the best way to kind of start out between a Roth, there are so many different retirements. You can look them all up. But simply today, we're just going to talk about Roth 401Ks, Roth IRAs, and 401Ks. So the simplest terms and the simplest way to put it to start out is to talk about the difference between a Roth and a 401K. So a Roth is basically saying that last episode, when we talked about financial tips, we brought up retirement. It was a small little subject in there. Of course, we want to expand on it and talk about the other options, season 1. Those are some great financial tips.
Yeah.
Still go back and take a look at those.
Yes, this is just to help give people a better understanding of how Roths and 401Ks, because they are kind of expansive. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and also there's so many different just modes of retirement.
Yes.
And so we could talk about retirement in whole episodes. So we wanted to kind of expand on that today. But yeah, last episode I said that Roth IRAs are a mutual fund. And I just want to correct myself because they are not a mutual fund. And let me repeat that again. Roth IRAs are not a mutual fund because a mutual fund is it's a managed fund by a third party that puts your money into a basket of shares and invests it for you pretty much, which you can get somebody to manage your Roth IRA. You can have somebody do that, but they're mutually exclusive. They are not the same thing. So I just wanted to clarify that. A Roth IRA is completely different. It's just a mode of transportation for not a mode of transportation. It's just a mode of retirement. So now that we have that out of the way, a Roth, whenever a Roth is in front of the name, that basically says that your money is going to be, that you're putting into your retirement is already taxed. So let's say I'm taking it from my check. I go and invest that, and that money's already been taxed. It's already taxed. So when I go and retire and I go and take my money out of my account, that means that my money is all of mine. It's not that I'm going to have like $1 million and I'm going to have to tax like a whole chunk of it when I retire. It's already like money that's been taxed. So that money is like, it's just a savings account that's mine. And unless I take it out at like the age of 65, or I mean before 65, let's say I take it out at like 50 instead of like the time I'm supposed to retire, then it'll be heavily taxed. So you want to keep it in until you retire, but anytime a Roth is in front of that name, that says that that money that you put into it has already been taxed, and you're not going to have a whole tax deduction when you retire.
So, quick question.
Yes.
Say I'm in a situation where I need to take out some money, and I go to my Roth IRA to take out some money. How would that would negatively affect me?
Yes. So if you, unless you were to take it out at, like, let's say you were set to retire at 65. You take that out at 65 when you're set to retire, that money's yours. But let's say you take it out 15 years earlier at 50. Yes. That money is going to be taxed.
Oh, okay.
So you don't want to take it out until you're going to retire. But, you know, that it's really nice when you go to retire and you take out all your money, and it's not like you have to pay taxes on $1 million, because then you lose like a whole chunk of your money and it's not actually fully there.
All that money is yours, like Rebecca said. Just it's about commitment as well, just kind of dedicating a portion of your paycheck and the job to do to your retirement.
Yes.
At the end of the day. And now that that's clarified, there are both Roth IRAs, Roth 401K's, and just 401K's. And we're going to go more into details on some of those.
So do you want to explain a 401K?
So when it comes to a 401K, it's in the name. Your employer takes out the money themselves and they invest it for you into your retirement. Based on the employer, you may even be given the option to match. So say I put in $1, my employer might want to match that for my retirement. Say I put in $300. The employer may offer the option to match that and put in an additional $300. Is entirely up to the employer, of course, but it's something worth asking your employer and just looking into when it comes to where you work and a 401k.
Yeah. No, yeah. I mean, it's definitely just an option. I mean, that they are giving to you. So ask about it, but like it might not happen that they do that. But you can always set up your retirement through your employer, like as a 401k, and there's a Roth 401k. So anytime, like, again, the Roth is in front of the name, like there's a Roth IRA, which we'll explain in IRA, but a Roth 401k is that it's taxed money from my check. So my employer, since it's a 401k, my employer will take the taxed money from my check and then put it into my retirement. So I don't even have to think about it. My employer does it for me, and I'm not taxed later on it. So that's always awesome. An option as well.
Yeah, especially in the digital age when there's so much different ways, mediums to kind of research ourselves. I mean, it's good to know that there's different ways to invest. You know, there's even apps that might help people to invest instead of having to go to an employer as well.
But like if you're unemployed, there's another option as an IRA, or you know, an IRA is just also nice to have as it is done by yourself. So you can have like a mutual fund person manage it for you, but so now like we can take a minute to talk about IRAs. So if you're unemployed, or if you are somebody who just wants to manage it themselves or have a mutual fund person manage it for you, what you can do is have an IRA, which an IRA is managed by yourself. So you take the money out of your check and you put it into your account. So that's separate from a 401k, because 401k is employer, IRA is you. Roth, anytime it's in front of the name, you can have a Roth 401k and you can have a Roth IRA, where it is just taxed your money has already been taxed. But if you were to set up a 401k, like just a simple 401k, you might be taxed on that. Yes. And also an IRA, like just a simple IRA, you might be taxed on that. Again, there are so many different types of retirement savings, but these are just to kind of give you an idea of like, what might work best for me whenever I see a Roth, like what is a Roth IRA, you know, or like what's a Roth 401k? I kind of have an idea before I go in and start investing in that. Yeah,
just to go back and give a short kind of description on that. So in short, a Roth IRA is a retirement savings account that you start on your own, and the money is pre-taxed before you invest it. All right. That is a Roth IRA.
Okay.
Now going to a Roth 401k. A Roth 401k is a retirement savings account that is taken out of your check and invested by your employer, where the money is put into your account is also pre-tax.
Yes.
That is a Roth 401k. I'm looking at my notes because there is a lot to
we want to make sure we explain it correctly.
Yes,
as well.
we want people to invest early into themselves and for their into their retirement. Sorry. And lastly, we have a 401k, which is put into your retirement savings account by your employer from your check and is after taxed. So there will be a large payment when you retire. Okay.
Possibly, yeah. Unless the Roth is just like a good indicator that like, okay, that money when I take it out is going to be all mine.
That's awesome.
Unless I take it out beforehand. But then there's one more thing that we just want to cover because I think it's important to just disclaim this as well. Whenever you invest into a Roth IRA or a 401k, Roth 401k, you can have somebody manage it for you just to kind of like know which ones to invest in because it's kind of, you're investing. So like your money's not sitting there. That's why there's the interest. So it's not just sitting in a savings account. It's growing for you. Like it's growing. So just one thing that you could always look into putting into your Roth IRA or your Roth 401k or 401k is a target date retirement fund. And basically what this is a, it basically, you set it up when you are at the age of whatever time you're retiring or going to retire, planning to, and then you set it up for when you start. So as you age, you're going to have a different risk tolerance.
Yes,
so when you're young, you're going to be able to handle a little bit more risk and higher risk, higher return. So like when you're young, you want to be able to kind of take on that risk. And as you age, you kind of become more risk averse. So by the time you get older, that money you kind of want to like conserve. So a target date retirement fund basically just manages that for you. So as you age, it invests accordingly.
Okay.
So that way, like, okay, when she's 25 to 35, she kind of is going to like moderately invest a little bit more riskier.
So it adjusts.
And
awesome.
then as you get older, it'll like invest a little bit more risky or less risky for you because you're trying to conserve your money and like kind of start to be more risk averse.
Oh, I like that option as well because when we're young, we have different attitudes when it comes to our money. And like you mentioned, when we're older, we don't really like to take those risks. So it's cool that it adjusts to our spending habits and kind of it adjusts to how we want to retire into ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, it's good because you don't even have to think about it. I mean, that money is just already put in for you. But, I know for a fact that you can put it into your Roth IRA because I have one in my Roth IRA, but I don't know for sure about a 401k, how that's managed. But a target date retirement fund is something to look into. It's it's nice because you don't have to even think about it. Like I just put my money in there. I don't even put my money in there. It just automatically takes it out for me. And like it's set up in automatic payments for me. So, but yeah, again, I mean, that's just how I'm personally doing it, but definitely look into it yourself.
It's funny thinking of this retirement investing as like a time capsule. Like you trap this money away. You trap the money into a way, and then in the future, like you open it up, and hopefully, if you invest early, you get like $1 million. But it depends on the person's situation and as well as when they start investing into the retirement. And I've been told, by various sources, by Rebecca and some professors as well. So I'll definitely look into that.
Did this persuade you at all?
It's always been persuading. It's just sitting down and actually, do my research and actually like talking to myself. Like, what am I willing to invest? What am I willing to give up, in terms of money for the future? So
another way to look at it as well is, when you start at 18, you're probably not going to be able to put in $400 a month unless you were like maybe handed down some money or something. I didn't start at 18. I started at 23. So I've only had it for like less than a year. And it's just, it's something that I wish I would have started at 18, knowing how much I could have made if I had started younger. But, starting now is better than not starting at all, and putting in $20 a week is better than not putting anything in at all. Yeah. So even if you just put in what you can for now, and as you get older and as you get a higher paid salary, you can maybe invest more and hopefully one day max out your Roth IRA. And like we said, you can make an additional like $500,000 just by investing and maxing it out, just by maxing it out. But, for me, I'm not going to personally make the $1.5 million, even if I max it out, because I'm already starting at 23. I've lost 5 years. So that's just to show, like, when they tell you compound interest and you're like, yeah, whatever. Like, I don't really care. You see it into perspective and you're like, dang, it compounds. Like, it does do that. And I wish I would have started when I was younger. Yes, But definitely, like, do your research. I'm not telling you to go and get a retirement right away. I'm not telling you to, I am kind of telling you to get one as soon as you can, but I'm not telling you to make a dumb decision and like invest in something ridiculous. And like, I'm not giving any shout outs to any places to go. Do the research, look into it yourself, talk to somebody that's a professional, that's licensed in this kind of stuff. But just to put in perspective how much money you could potentially have, at certain ages, it's good to know.
No, yes, and just to give the audience some more into detail on why specifically we're talking about retirement, especially us being young. We're like, hey, why are you guys talking about retirement? Well, we've been influenced by many professors and just things like, for example, like even our own families. We just now in the digital age, we want to invest early. In the future, who knows what the landscape is? But as long as we have that retirement, we have that some sort of cushion security cushion to protect ourselves, like we keep talking about. We've brought up various times Paula Groves. She's an amazing business finance professor who we both had. We're both marketing majors, but we have to take a business finance class, and usually she's the one we go through.
And we work at the FinTech labs.
Yes.
I mean,
so we do have some experience when it comes to finance. Rebecca knows a lot about retirement. Like, we're at the office and she's talking about her investments, this and that, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna step back. Let me step forward, a bit. And there's just different things. So we wanted to bring that to our audience and just talk about finance when it comes to retirement, especially with fintech. There's many different forms of investing. Like I said before, there's apps that are there that exist to invest into your future. Definitely
be careful with the apps, but make sure that they are covered by the FDIC.
Do your research.
Do your research. But yeah, just to kind of have an idea, because I know that when I was kind of starting this whole journey of retirement, I just kind of was like, what is a Roth IRA? Like, what's a Roth? What's a 401K? Like, what is the difference? I knew that a 401K was employer, but like I didn't know that there was the option to maybe match if that was like given to me as an option, which is super cool. If you get a job that does that, that is awesome.
Yes.
I also don't know for sure if 401Ks are transferable from job to job. That's something to look into, but just to kind of weigh the options so you kind of get started and have an idea.
And be transparent when it comes to your money. There seems to be like a taboo that surrounds when it comes to talk about what you make and how to invest it. A lot of people don't like to talk about how much they make, but it's important to sit down, even to yourselves, and just talk about, what should I invest? What should I be willing to give up? Because at the end of the day, investment is a commitment for your future. It may not. A lot of people want it now, but it's important to realize in the future for your family, your kids, if you have kids, or for your job, or if you just want to retire, have $1 million, and you just buy something cool, use something. So it's important to look forward into the future. And
also, like, another thing is that they think, so a lot of people might think like, oh, $1 million might not be enough to live off of. That might change, but the thing is also too, as you age, you want to kind of start building your assets. So I mean, hopefully by the time you retire, you're not buying a house. You maybe have already had a house or like a apartment or something like in your name. Hopefully. I mean, I don't know the financial situations of whoever, and there's no shame on any situation at all. Even if it's what, at the end of the day, you're collecting Social Security, there's nothing wrong with that either. But this is just to kind of weigh, like you said, a cushion, security, to kind of have like more options. I mean, like, what if you have a crazy medical bill and you're living off of $22K, then you have like kind of that cushioning to kind of sustain you, and you're not living off of cat food,
Mhm.
like Paula said.
Like Paula, oh my gosh.
So, yeah, it's, I mean, you're not going to actually live off of cat food, off of Social
Right.
Security, but it's, I mean, in years from now, 22K is not going to be very much. I mean, it's already changed a lot. So,
And like our professor, like Paula Grove says a lot, $1 today is not worth $1 tomorrow.
mm-hmm.
So, you know, as well as the years go by, the dollar changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be worth possibly more in the future. Or,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and inflation and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyways, this is I think a good place to
Yes.
stop.
Thank you for watching and listening in on us. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know if you guys have a Roth IRA or some sort of investment, a 401K.
Or even just started your retirement. Like, just let us
Yes.
know if that's something that you've looked into
Mhm,
or started.
mhm.
If you have any questions, reach out. If we can maybe try and do something about them.
Yeah, no, yeah. We'll want to interact with you guys more.
Yes.
So, but for now, let's not forget to be bold and shape the future.
Oh, hey. Fancy seeing you here. Hope you make it to our next episode.